feel terrible that I actually just deleted that vocal exercise I just did. That was really funny. I'm one of those people who learns to do everything that he really wants to do. Like, that's my dealio. I find a thing and I'm like, I want to learn how to do that. And then I do that. And recently for me, I think the last maybe 8 years or so, it's been food, the culinary arts. It's been my thing. Like, I go to the store, I do the shopping for the family and everything. And I realize, oh my goodness, this is crazy ass expensive and I don't think it should be. And then I start doing my research and I'm like, oh man, I can make that at home. Primary example of this is applesauce. Like, I can make my own applesauce. It takes a lot of effort. There was a while there right after the pandemic when apples were crazy ass expensive. I don't know why. Applesauce was crazy ass expensive. I don't know why. It just was. So I was making my own applesauce. But anyway, today was my first try at air fryer chicken wings. Like, I wanted to do lemon pepper wings, just like we have at Wingstop or Buffalo Wild, whatever chain we go to, And I got to tell you, the very first batch, I was like 85% there, like right out of the gates. So I'm pretty happy. The second batch I made was garlic parm, and that was like 90% there. So, a piece of cake. The only problem I have with it is the air fryer is really hard to clean, which is really annoying. I don't like that at all, but it is what it is. It's a distraction, and that's good. Normally this show is pretty downer, but maybe today will be different. In fact, I know it will be. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to at least a dozen people's favorite podcast of all time, Trent Takes On 2.0. I think that may have been a bit liberal. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on in the United States right now and the world around us. It's crazy. Just since the last time I recorded on Friday of last week, we have bombed Iran without authorization from Congress. So Mad King Donald gets to just drop bombs on whoever he wants now. And it's like, okay. I'm a little worried that the military just did it, without, I don't know, authorization. I think that's a thing that should probably have, it should worry us all. We seem to be just kind of glossing over that part. The Supreme Court's handed down some totally batshit crazy pro-dictator rulings, which just, okay. It's like self-castration by the court, which is like weird. Why would you do a bunch of things that literally neuter yourself? Take away your own power. And that's what they're doing. So, the Supreme Court, this Supreme Court is so ideologically right, hard right. And hell-bent on taking us back to the 50s, I guess. I don't know when they plan on taking us back to. But we desperately need court reform because we got to undo a whole bunch of stuff that has been just fucking nuts. Anyway, there have been bad Supreme Court decisions. There's bombings that no one's being held accountable for. That stupid-ass, big, beautiful pile of shit bill that they're trying to push through Congress is... the parliamentarian said you can't have all these non-budgetary things in the budget bill. You have to do those through regular order. And in response, the Republicans are like, well, we're going to fire the parliamentarian. And it's just like, fuck, man. You guys are all, I don't know. It's madness. And there's a lot of reasons to say, poo. Man, things are just bad. But I'm not going to say that today. There's anecdotal awful stuff going on out there. ICE is completely out of control. Completely out of control. Snatching up anyone to hit their ridiculous quotas, which they're not hitting because they're ridiculous quotas. It turns out there aren't that many criminals who are also undocumented in the country. It's actually a really small number. The civil crime of being here without documentation should not be prison worthy. It's just not. They're detaining people for extended periods of time. They've blown their budget all to hell. I mean, I think I mentioned this last week. The budget for ICE is like, it's a joke. If there were a functional Congress, they could rein in a lot of this stuff just by not paying for it. That's possible, but we don't have a functional Congress right now. So why am I optimistic? Because, well, I'll tell you what I am optimistic about. And I'll tell you why I'm optimistic. Democrats continue to infight because I wish I could be in one of those meetings and just given like 20 minutes to speak, to explain to these people what they're doing and how stupid it is and how stupid they all look, fighting amongst themselves, saying it's not okay to primary, incumbents. Of course it's okay to primary incumbents. If you think you can do a better job, you should get your name on the fucking ballot and go do it. If I thought I could beat Pete Aguilar in a primary, I would. I also think he does as good a job, or if not better, than I do. I think he's done an amazing job. Could I run for Senate? No. But I could run for a House of Representatives. As long as I don't have to campaign like all over the freaking expensive ass state. I could just go like door to door and knock on, just meet people at the mall and shit. I could do that. I could try. I could push him to the left, but I think he's already to the left. I think, in spite of the fact that the Democratic Party is a bunch of putzes, they infight, they're scared of their own shadow, they're scared of going too far left. Meanwhile, the right is so far right, they're basically fascists. Not basically, they are. They're fascists. It's a regime. It's a dictatorial, authoritarian regime that no longer cares about checks and balances, and they'll just run roughshod on whatever they want. Why the fuck am I positive? That's a great question. And the answer is because it feels like something's changing. It feels like the last 6 weeks or so. Maybe it's because I've gone to a couple protests. Maybe it's because I'm watching the backlash to all these things unfold in real time. Maybe it's because the arsonists in the regime are having to push harder and harder and harder to set new fires, that they now look cartoonish in their pushback. I'm honestly, the mainstream media seems to like finally be finding its voice a little bit, which is good. I mean, even if they are shitty and they're probably at least 40% responsible for putting us here, at least they're starting to come round. I don't know. It feels like things are swinging. The public opinion has already happened. The first quarter growth numbers were revised this week, and they went down for our economy. So instead of a contraction of 0.2% of our gross domestic product, we contracted at 0.5%. It also means that our second quarter numbers are going to be worse than we thought. And there's always like this ricochet factor. I'm learning a whole lot about economics because, like I said in the intro, I'm the kind of guy who likes to learn stuff. So I like to learn stuff. I'm learning about economics now. Again. I'm Keynesian, for the record. It looks like people are starting to wake up. It looks like the repercussions of the behaviors of the first, and I still can't believe this shit, the first 5 months of this regime are being felt everywhere. And if they pass this big, beautiful pile of shit bill, it's going to get worse. And he came out, the Mad King came out today and he said, tariffs are back on. The Mad King has decided, it's time to fire up the tariff machine again. They're really floundering to keep control of the narratives. Because this week's narrative has been how incompetent their military strike was. Not that the strike itself was incompetent. It did exactly it was pulled off exactly the way it was planned. The problem was there was no way that these bunker buster bombs were going to penetrate 250 feet of granite, concrete, and reinforced steel to completely obliterate this facility. It didn't happen. They closed they broke the door, and they probably set them back about 6 months in their nuclear program. That's it. The Iranians now have even more reason, though, to work toward a nuclear bomb because, well, they just got attacked by the United States and Israel. Yeah, the United States did it without a congressional authorization. They just went for it. They didn't blow up. They didn't destroy the nuclear capabilities of Iran, which is what they claimed was their goal. And it didn't happen. And so they look incompetent because they continue to say that they did it. They continue to say something that is obviously untrue. They continue to, and then there was this intelligence report that's leaked that says the initial after action report shows that, they probably set back the Iranians about 6 months. Now, that's initial. It's far from comprehensive. They haven't had boots on the ground. They're just saying, it looks like this is what we have from the intelligence that we have available. And the Trump organization was like, the Trump regime was like, how dare you leak this stuff? And it's like, yeah, well, you won't tell us the truth. So what are we supposed to do? The truth needs to come out. The truth always comes out in the end, my friend. Look at the war in Iraq. Fought under false pretenses, but at least they got congressional authorization first. At least they went before Congress and made a case for it. At least they got them to vote on it and got an approval, and then they got to move in, and then they got to do their military. They got to play with their little toys in the sand. They got to play with their tanks in the sand. That's an old George Carlin bet. Yeah, they got the authorization. I mean, the Bush people did. Trump, nah, we don't need authorization. We just do whatever the fuck we want. Right? We got immunity, right? We got immunity. No. The incompetence is out of control. Okay, so that's one of the things that I've posited, that I've got, that I'm holding on to. There's some positivity here. The incompetence is awesome. It's huge. It's out of control. And people are waking up. Regular, ordinary people are waking up and going, what the fuck? By the way, inflation is still high. And it's about to spike even more because Tariff Boy is back at it. So it's going to become more and more obvious that these people are completely unfit to run a country of 340 million people. They've been unfit since the very beginning. They've been unfit since 2015 when he started running for president. He has never been qualified for this office. He has never executed this office with any sort of proficiency whatsoever. He's a complete lunatic, idiot, fool, and loser. And it's all starting to show. The cracks are beginning to form. They're starting to feel it. They're starting to understand. people are starting to understand that we voted for somebody who lied to us about his qualifications. He lied to us about his plans. He lied to us nonstop. And it's not your fault that he lied to you. It is your fault you believed it. But I don't blame people for wanting change. I don't blame people for wanting something better because, honestly, the Biden administration did good things, but it was the PR department was so bad that they couldn't tout their wins. They couldn't toot their own horn. And it didn't help that Biden himself is just not a good communicator. He's just not. It is what it is. Shit happens. We've had presidents that have been poor communicators before. Probably won't have another one. I mean, Trump's an idiot, but what you gonna do? It's I think things are changing in a positive way, and I wanted to come on this week and say, yes, I'm a day late. I was gonna do this show yesterday, and I literally forgot that I had planned to do it because I forgot until the afternoon yesterday that it was Thursday. I was like, this happens to me. I was at the pool with my kids. And then I was like, oh, crap. Today's Thursday. I was going to do my podcast today. I guess that's going to get pushed off. So it got pushed back a day. And I'm not going to go long today. I don't want to go long. I need to make this tight, Things are changing. And if you're paying attention, if you're focused on it, if you're watching it, it feels like it, doesn't it? It feels like their grasp on things is tenuous. Like shit's starting to slip, and they're going to start getting defections, and people are starting to listen to the words. And one of the things that I want to point out is this guy named Zohran Mamdani, who is a 33-year-old Democratic Socialist Progressive, just won the Democratic primary for mayor of New York City in the first round of ranked choice. In other words, he had over 50% right away. And I can't tell you how impressive that is because he was running against Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo, who had been governor of the state, whose father had been governor of the state, or maybe he was a prior mayor of New York City. The Cuomos are New York Democratic royalty. It feels like one of them has been on the ballot nonstop for years, decades. And this guy, this no-name who was polling at 1% in February. 1. Outright. And he won on issues, specifically on the issue of affordability, because he has ideas to make things more affordable for New Yorkers. Everything from a rent freeze during these difficult times where these housing issues continue. We can't just keep jacking up rents. We need to construct more housing. So they've got to rezone a lot of stuff. They've got to build more affordable housing. They have to attack this problem. He's got plans for that. He's got plans for 5 city-run supermarkets. Supermarkets where people can buy food, where the city is going to run these things at a nonprofit level. So you're going to pay a reasonable price for food in these places. These 5, he wants to put 1 in each borough of New York. And what does that do to the competition? To the grocery stores and the bodegas? Bodegas? Do I not know how to pronounce this word? I don't. Bodegas. It's bodegas. What does it do to the competition? They have to fight to get your business, to keep your business. And that's what capitalism is about. It's not about businesses. It's about markets. And I don't mean supermarkets. I mean competitive markets. A competitive market keeps prices under control. It works better for the end consumers. It works better for the employees to have multiple venues to go to. The workers, I could work here, or I could work there, or I could work here. And they all have to compete wages and compensation package wise. That compensation, that competition, that market competition, that's what makes capitalism work. Not the crony version that we've got going on right now. Not the version where everybody merges with everybody else and you have like 5 super companies that run the country. That's why Japan's economy has been stagflated for decades now, because they had 7 mega companies that run everything. Conglomerate companies that their hands in everything from automobiles to children's toys to seafood that they put in vending machines, which is a real thing for the record. And it's broken their economy because there's no competition because the market is broken. So we need to bring back markets. And this democratic socialist is going to use the power of the government to try and corral that market. Not by telling them you have to do things a certain way, but by introducing an option that if you want to stay in business, you're going to have to compete with it. That's huge. That's smart. Smart stuff. People listened to Mamdani and they voted for him. And that gives me hope. Because these were, to the rest of us, pretty wild ideas. State-run markets, state-run supermarkets. So I keep saying markets like it's the whole thing. No, it's a little tiny chain. 5 state-run supermarkets. What's it going to do? We don't know. Nobody's tried this. I think it might work. Nobody's tried this in the United States, for the record. I'm certain it's been tried in other places, and it probably works great. I am cautiously optimistic right now because I've come to the conclusion. I used to joke with my partner, Emily, about how hard it's going to be to maintain a fascist dictatorship in a country with 400 million guns, which, true, it's still going to be an issue. It's still going to be an issue. It's difficult to have a fascist dictatorship in a country with this much prosperity. In a country that has this much money, that has this much on the line, and that has this many people in it, millions and millions and millions of people who are standing up every election and saying, we want something better. And the Democrats are polling terribly right now. That's absolutely true. Because Democrats are angry at their own leadership. Line level, voters like me, I'm just a regular Democratic voter. I'm pissed off at my leadership. What's your approval of your Democratic leadership? They fucking suck. They're not fighting hard enough. They're not making enough noise. They're not making enough noise. They're not making enough noise. I want noise. I want Bernie noise. I want AOC noise. I want Robert Garcia noise. He's great, by the way. He's the new chairman of the Oversight Committee. Sorry, ranking member of the Oversight Committee. He would be chairman if we were in power, but we're not yet. 2016 can't come soon enough. But until then, we have to continue to be loud. We have to continue to meet the moment. We have to continue to protest when we're called on. We have to continue to gather peacefully and say in one loud, not ambiguous voice that we do not approve of this regime and the fascist takeover of our country. I do not appreciate fascism. I don't. You shouldn't either. No one should, I suppose, except the fascists. So think about that. If you're cool with fascism, what does it say about you? Think about that. Think about what they're doing. Think about using the military to police our streets. It's happening right here in Los Angeles. It happened right here down the street from me, less than 4 miles away. A massive Border Patrol, ICE, whatever, blah, 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 congregation on Saturday 2 weeks ago, complete with National Guardsmen to protect ICE, to protect the Border Patrol. No. Was that 2 Saturdays ago? I think so. I tell you, we are the last backstop. The courts can't save us. The courts cannot save us. Republicans are not suddenly finding spines. They are nothing but a giant school of jellyfish. I just realized I have no idea what you call a group of jellyfish. Is it like, I don't know, a jar of jellyfish? I don't know. A giant group of jellyfish. Not one spine amongst them. None of them will stand up when it's actually due time. They are going to pass this horrible bill. Some version of it. It doesn't matter what version of it they pass. It will be bad. Very, very, very bad. Medicaid will take a massive cut. Nutritional assistance for children will take a massive cut. Food stamps. We're going to steal from the poorest Americans to give a giant tax cut to the rich. That is going to happen. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the very people that put Republicans in their jobs. And so far, Republican senators said shit like, we're all going to die. Joni Ernst, senator from Iowa, up for re-election 2026, next cycle. We're all going to die in response to Medicaid cuts in this bill at a town hall. We're all going to die. Everybody dies. And then she doubled down the next day. And just now, word came out that Mitch McConnell in a closed-door meeting said, I know we're all hearing about these Medicaid cuts from people back home, but they'll get over it. They'll get over it. Yeah. Mitch McConnell said we'll get over it. We'll get over the Medicaid cuts. What? When you die? You'll get over it? What about the people who live? They're probably not going to get over it. Probably going to be pretty pissed. They'll get over it, he says. They'll get over the fact that there's no food on that plate. They'll get over it. We're all going to die anyway, right? They're going to pass their bill. It's going to be awful. And we're going to do the best we can to mitigate the damage, but it's going to be a lot. And they're going to pay for that because the elections are still happening. Now, that may change. That's a bummer thought. That may change, though. They may. That would be the ultimate red line when they just take the power away from the people. That would be when, it's time. What's the funny Onion headline that they keep posting? NRA surprisingly forgets to uprise against tyrannical government. There's a tyrant in Washington, and he's surrounded by sycophants, brown-nosers, enablers, a regime that will do anything to keep him in power and to keep him happy and to continue to hurt people, to benefit the rich. It's 99% versus 1 now, guys. If you're listening to this, you're in the 99%. I'm positive I don't have any billionaires listening to this show. I probably don't even have any millionaires listening to this show. I'm a little too progressive for the millionaire crowd, I think. Although, I don't know, someone who I know who listens may have just won the lottery. If so, congratulations. That's great. I hope you do something wonderful with at least some of your money. These are dark times, but I tell you, people are starting to look for candles and flashlights and lanterns and glow sticks and anything to light the way. And they'll find it. And we'll be better off for it. That's going to do me for today. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate you so much. For listening all the way to the end, I appreciate you. Please, please, please share this with a friend. Share this with a friend. Share this with 2 friends. If you can share this with 4 friends, wow. If you can share it with 5 friends, you could be a member of the cast of Friends. Although I guess only 5 of them are still alive. Rest in peace, Matt Perry. I loved you. I still do. Thank you all. Please continue to pay attention. Continue to be good humans. It's the very least we can do. And until next time, love you.